Okay, so on today's Daily Cyber, we're going to be talking to Aun. He's a business and insurance specialist in the GTA, General Toronto area. And he's going to be talking about what you need to know about insurance, the insurance industry, from small business to mid-sized business. Any kind of questions that you might have, we're going to be discussing them today about the insurance industry and what's going on. And I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 pandemic and everything that's going on there as well. So it's going to be really exciting. We're going to cover a lot of information. So let's hack at it. Every fact pattern has a unique circumstance. Mr. Aun Japanwala is not providing legal advice as part of this podcast. Please be sure to contact your legal and insurance professional to obtain advice on your particular matter. So, hey, Aun, thank you so much for coming on my daily podcast. I'm really interested about learning more about cybersecurity and cyber insurance from your aspect and, everything that's going on in your industry. So thank you so much.
Hey, Brandon, thanks so much for having me on your show. I'm honored. Hopefully I can provide as much value for your viewers.
Well, I think you can, in the sense of because of your expertise, and I've been watching kind of your posts and what you've been talking about when it comes to insurance and as well as when it comes to cybersecurity and protection. I mean, you really kind of help educate your clients and your followers and your community. And I'd love you just to kind of share, your expertise and your knowledge of what's going on in the industry. Specifically, we're looking at so many aspects going on right now, especially with the COVID-19. I'd love to first kind of jump into, kind of what area of insurance do you love to cover and your focus?
Great question. So majority, I'm a property and liability insurance specialist. That's what I've pretty much specialized in. And over the past 2 years, I ended up branching out, becoming more and more in tune with the cyber insurance aspect for companies. And it started off by just one IT consultant calling me from a referral from an existing client, calling me and asking me, "Hey, listen, I need an insurance policy for my contract." And I said, "Listen, I haven't done any of these, but I can take a look into it. It's something new." And from there, I started digging into it, and it just snowballed from there.
Wow! And then now I see a lot of education and value that you're providing around the cybersecurity, aspects of insurance and what companies really need to know, entrepreneurs all the way up, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a common overlooked coverage and aspect of a business that most people are overlooking, and that's simply because of the fact that most people aren't expecting it to be expecting to be impacted by a hacker or anything of the sort.
Right. Now, one of the questions I get asked, talking to all different sides of entrepreneurs and business owners, do small business owners really need cybersecurity?
Oh, 100. I think I would say 100%, especially if you are, just collecting payment information for your clients. Most of us, especially I would say I can speak for myself, and anybody who's a salesperson, you're using your cell phone to communicate with your clients, whether it's through text messages, emails, you're using your company's systems, even if you're using your company's, remote desktop systems that you may be using at home. Especially in this COVID-19, where a lot of people are, working from home, it's put a lot of it's put a lot of businesses at risk. Especially how often would you talk to a professional, salesperson, and they would think that they would if you'd ask them, "Do you need cyber insurance?" They would be like, "No, I don't have a business."
Right.
But in fact, they're probably just as much exposed as that individual salesperson compared to a retail store that's collecting credit card payments.
So basically what you're saying, so I understand, is because people now, because of the COVID-19 scenario, there's remote workers, people are working from home, because of being, self-quarantine, kind of all those areas. And now companies are having to look at these solutions too, is your laptop, is your desktop, is your, your iPhone or smartphone or tablet, are they secure enough to take the company data too, right? Is that something we have to look at?
100%. And I would just change what you just said slightly, is that COVID-19 has made it more it has emphasized working from home even more.
Okay.
Like if you talk to a realtor, majority of them will be working on the road, working on the phone. You talk to a mortgage broker, similar scenario. You talk to an insurance broker like myself. We're on the road 99% of the time,
Right.
visiting clients and so forth. But we weren't at the office as much as needed. We won't be in the office as much as, let's say, the standard person who's standard office worker,
Right.
who goes to the office 9 to 5. You would assume that because that 9 to 5 worker is working on a computer, his company needs insurance. You'd expect this company to have insurance, and me as an individual salesperson, I don't have any data. I don't need it. Like I'm not a big company,
Right.
So I think that these things is starting to change, especially with COVID-19 popping up. It's changing the marketplace in general. And now everybody's being pushed to working from home. Cities are locked down. So guess what? Now, is my cell phone, like you said, is it strong enough? Is it secure enough to be able to handle my company's employees, and clients' data?
Right.
Yes. So I think now in my position, I wouldn't have that exact information, but all I can give my 2 cents from what I've been reviewing and reading articles and online discussions that are taking place between brokerage owners on platforms such as LinkedIn, is that a lot of them are discussing ways to transfer employees to working from home. And that was the original discussion. The discussions following that were, how can we make it secure to make sure that this information is being transported, safely and securely? And majority of the brokerages, at least for the insurance world, they're using third-party remote desktop platforms, anyways.
Right.
So 99%, I would say, again, I'm not in control of this, but I would say that most brokerages are assuming that the remote desktop providers are the ones responsible for the security setup.
Right. So, and I guess it comes back to and I know I've been asked this question is, so say for example, I got my insurance policy. It says, you have, you read out your policy and it says how many remote workers you have, and then it says 100 because you have salespeople, you have remote workers, things like that. But maybe you have 250 staff, right? But now because of COVID-19, now I have, all 300, working from home. Now, my question, and kind of to reiterate, is insurance companies going, okay, hold on, you've increased your remote access. Now the potential for vulnerabilities there. Are insurance companies now kind of reevaluating, kind of going, okay, and asking the companies and reevaluating, saying, do you have this in place? Do you have the security? Have you done the antivirus, anti-malware? Like check. Do you hit these check boxes? Or is it kind of, what? We've insured them for this much. We've covered this much,
right,
and the reliability is back on the company. And I've been asked that personally myself, and that's a great reason why. Another reason why I'm having you on the podcast is because of these questions I'm getting. Is because companies don't know. Like, does it modify my plan? Am I more at risk now because I've increased it and it's not on my policy?
Right. So great question. So apologies for not directly answering that question earlier. I misunderstood it. But from an insurance company's perspective, oftentimes when we're working with clients, insurance companies require us to fill out an application
For sure.
that essentially goes through like a checklist. Is the company doing this? Are they complying with PIPEDA plans? Are they complying with all the privacy acts? Part of that also goes into discussions of, is all information being transported or transferred, or is the information encrypted? Do they have a security system in place? Do they have antivirus, malware system? They'll go into questions like who's in charge of the IT systems, and they'll go through and what security measures are being taken. It's even down to the fact that, are these security systems like antivirus and malware and firewalls all being updated regularly? Who's in charge of it? So there's always a checklist into that to give the insurance company. Yes, they've got limits already set in place that they'll insure you for 250,000, 500,000, whatever the limit is, depending on the size of your business and needs. However, these guys they've already had this sort of checklist in place before they'll even give you a quote.
For sure.
Now, I think now the marketplace is changing, at least for the time being. Maybe this is just a temporary thing, and people will just return back to going to the office 9 to 5 later on, or back from once this COVID thing's ending and people are heading back to their office. Or this may be a new chapter,
right,
where where companies may be looking at, okay, for these past month, we were able to manage, so many employees working from home. We got them set up. There was, less hassle, more productivity, whatever the benefits that may come from working from home. Do they really need to start coming into the office now?
Right.
Right. And at that stage, maybe it starts changing the workplace dynamic across Ontario. And if that's the case, then the insurance companies will be reactive to it. They may not just make that quick. They may not just go into a checklist. They may go into a bit more of a detailed checklist and a more advanced one.
Okay. And then I think, that's a great point that you're bringing up. And I think what happens is I'd recommend anyone watching this, contact your insurance broker, contact your insurance specialist, and ask them like, okay, am I covered, or do I have to modify my insurance policy because I've done this? And then they're going to ask you, like I think you're saying, is that you're going to ask good questions in the sense of, do those, home users, do they have antivirus on their systems? Have you set that up? Has it been licensed? Has all that been done? And that company has to come back and say yes or no. Has it been patched?
Right.
Has it been updated? Has it been secured? Do they have encryption on their desktop and then VPN set up so they can transfer data? Has all that been set up for each of the license? Because as you know, on a lot of these companies have specific users that they have licensed. So maybe they have 100 license, but now they have 300 employees using it.
Right.
They might not have the bandwidth or the resources to license everyone, but now the company has to take that responsibility. So working with your insurance specialist and doing that gives you the right plan, because, and one thing I want to lead into is, and you mentioned in one of your videos, the increase of cybersecurity attacks at this time, malware, emails. So what are you seeing?
Yeah. So I've noticed is that, and I'll speak from my own personal situation, was that one day I just got an email from, I got an email which looked like it was coming from a well-established bank, and it was a bank that I was dealing with, and it said, there's a COVID email, there's a COVID-19 email, or whatever the case is, but there was one thing that led me to that kind of got my red flags up, which was the fact that when I looked at the email and I was checking this on my phone, was that it wasn't just a standard coming from an email address.
Okay.
It was a bunch of numbers, letters, and the clear giveaway that it's not coming from a straight source, as you would, like if you're getting an email from Best Buy, for example, it'll say, email from no reply, Best Buy, just something like that. It'll be very straightforward. But when I noticed was that email that was showing up as like, it was like random
1 2 5 7 8
letters, XYZ, whatever. Somewhere it says TD or Rogers, TD Rogers, Scotiabank, or whatever. So that's kind of raised my suspicions. And when I clicked, when I opened it up, without clicking on any of the links, it was a clear giveaway. Like, it was not a professionally done site. The email wasn't drafted up, spelling errors, it didn't look crisp. It wasn't like a proper email that it wasn't up to the quality of standard of an email that would be sent out from a bank. And clearly it was a giveaway. And you know what? It almost got me to click on it out of that fear, because these cyber attacks and cyber hackers and these guys are unfortunately trying to use this pandemic, this scenario, this fear that's caused because of this pandemic, and they're trying to utilize it to, unfortunately, commit cyber crimes, which is to get people who are scared to click on these links, put in their personal information, and either they're going to try to access, and you know this better than I do, but that they'll access your personal information, or they'll just put you in a ransomware and lock your account down. And what exactly are you going to do after that, right? So I felt it was important to get that out to get it out to the public, because at least this is what I've started to notice
Right.
From a cyber perspective.
Right. And I think one of the things we have to be mindful too, and we mentioned kind of before we started the podcast, was there's a lot going on with the COVID-19 in different areas of business, personal, family, relationships, medical, like right across the board. This is, like I said, a pandemic right across the world. It's not just our local communities. Like everyone is, affected this one way or another. Right. And like you said, when it comes to cybersecurity, in our business is to help people be educated and provide them real resources so the fear goes down and they're not reacting out of emotion and they're acting out of logic. And I think a lot of times when you're seeing these emails, it's a fear-based that I need to know what's going on with COVID. Is that person closed? Is this going on? How many people have passed away? What's the impact ratio? Like we're asking all these questions would put us into this emotional fear state where then we click on something that we shouldn't. Right. And we'll click on a link. Then all of a sudden, sure enough, like you said, it's ransomware, malware, keylogger, something's on that. And all of a sudden now you're not just worried about what's going on with, COVID-19, but now you've been compromised. Your bank account,
and I bet it's not even that, I know I mentioned it through email, but it's so surprising when my dad was telling me that he's getting emails from, not emails, but he's also getting like forwards from like suspicious links on like WhatsApp and all these social media contact platforms. He's getting forwards from his friends who've been compromised. And that's the issue, because sometimes, and this has happened so often and so common, and the biggest social media platform I've seen this on is Facebook Messenger. And because you're able to send full out links on there, and it's coming from somebody you're a friend with, and if they've been compromised somehow, I've just noticed that they are able to pass that infection on much faster.
Yeah, it propagates the contact list, right? And your friends. Yeah. So it goes through that friends list, and all of a sudden everyone that's your friend, the average they're saying is, most Facebook accounts have 500 friends. So that 500 goes to their 500, that goes to their 500, and then, it's 2,500, and it's, 10,000, and it just keeps growing and growing, right? So, because it just keeps propagating, the next person that clicks on it keeps the cycle going. So, and the other thing is the fake ads, right? Or even now, not even just fake ads, but malware ads where people are posting things in the feeds that you're getting if they're sponsored, and there's actually malware to it. So you click on it, COVID-19 now attacks, Brampton. So you click on it, and then sure enough, there potentially could be malware, right? It looks like it's coming from City TV. It looks like it's coming from CBC, whatever that is. But they put that image there, they put that picture there, but there's malware in the background. And that's what I'm saying. I'm telling people right now is, if you need to get information, very valid information, go to the sites directly. Go to City TV, go to Pulse 24, go to the WHO, go there directly and get your resources. And I think one thing I love to get your perspective of is, what are you seeing on the insurance side from your clients? Are you seeing they're, logically going through this process, or is there a little bit of panic? Is there a little bit of fear?
I think panic is definitely there with everybody, and it's just natural. We're all humans. Again, businesses. We're all humans running the business.
Right.
And I feel that many business, like I got a call this afternoon, and the client's going like, what happens if, and there's a lot of what if questions.
For sure.
And this is a territory that's been uncharted by many. And yes, we had in 2008 we had the financial crisis. However, if you take a look at the market right now, you're seeing a health pandemic, and you're also seeing a financial pandemic simultaneously.
Right, for sure.
And you usually have either one of the two to a certain degree, but I've noticed that, at least in my lifetime, is that this is a new uncharted territory for everybody.
Right.
So for businesses, everybody is trying to keep it, trying to keep they're keeping their ducks in order and seeing if they have coverage. If they don't have coverage, what is the risk? Well, before they even get to the insurance coverages part, is my advice to each and every one of your viewers would be, have a business continuity plan in place. have a risk management plan in place, because that's what's essentially going to hold you together in the moments of panic. It is the logical steps that you have to take that you've already outlined with a calm mindset previously is what the steps you should continue to follow.
So now I have a question about that, and something that was brought up yesterday, business interruption. So people have these business continuity plans, and they think of business interruption. So my business interrupted,
Right.
like this COVID-19 pandemic is interrupting my business. But what I was finding out is that that's not covered by insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. So
great question.
For the business
great question.
for the business continuity, what should they have done to have that in place to be able to manage an outage like this?
Right. So to address your first part on that is, yes, actually. So most insurance plans with the business interruption, most policies will have business interruption in place, but business interruption only responds to a physical damage to your property.
Right.
Okay. You should have had a fire, or your units, been flooded, for example, unable to work, and your business has shut down.
Right.
Unfortunately, a pandemic is an exclusion on most policies. 99.9% of policies, that's an exclusion.
Okay.
On the property side of things, because it's considered, like a virus, bacteria, and disease. Those things are not standard coverages on majority of policies, unless you had a specific customized policy designed, and that's only usually done for businesses that are that's usually done for businesses that are at a scale that can afford a policy like that.
Okay.
So
it's very expensive.
It's super expensive because it's a customized built-in policy, sort of like insuring Cristiano Ronaldo's legs.
Right.
It's not something that everybody's going to go out and buy a general policy that I want to get my legs insured. But those are like custom built policies for those specific reasons.
Right, for sure.
Not saying they don't exist. These policies do exist, but business interruption only responds to a loss through your damage to a direct physical damage to your property.
Okay.
So regarding your second part to it is your business continuity plan. Usually, I always recommend part of the risk management services I provide to my clients is that to always have a contingency fund available. If your location can't work from, let's say right now, if you're not able to go to the office, is there flexibility for your clients to operate from home? Do you have you have an office at home? Do you have a laptop at home? What happens if your location shuts down?
Right.
And what we've noticed is that, yes, so some businesses are still open. They're still going to work. Pharmacies are open. Gas stations are open. Grocery stores are open. So there's still people who are going into work.
Right.
But from a risk management perspective, like our office, Line & Butler Insurance Brokers, has taken the preemptive decision to not have any walk-in. They've shut down the office. Everybody's been designed to have been set up to be working from home.
Right.
To make sure that we are still responsive to our clients in this crisis mode, because sometimes people just don't need, people need to know that people need to know that there's people there if they need a claim. If you had a car accident, for example,
Right.
you still want to know your insurance broker is still there to be able to answer any questions.
For sure.
So we're still available in that sense. But from going back to your original question, what can a business interruption is part of a business continuity plan, but is not the only response there is.
So like you're saying that then potentially, and we're talking that this is before this incident, right, is that they should have had business continuity. They should have a kind of more of a slush fund in the sense of, and now I'm just going to estimate, or were you talking about like a 6 month or 1 year kind of, plan that they have like a fund that if anything happens, their business could run for 6 months or up to 1 year with that fund. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, usually I always say that always keep a plan for a 6 month to a 1 year term.
Okay.
Because by that time, if that's just a simple. Now I understand small businesses that are working month to month or week to week, where they earn income, where they earn a revenue, they pay their bills, earn a revenue, pay their bills. It's going to be really, really difficult for those businesses to be able to budget, especially if you're a small business you've just set up. Unfortunately, I would feel so bad. I would feel so bad for the business owner the new business owner, the entrepreneur who just signed the lease 3 weeks ago and has walked into this dilemma. There's no way I could even expect that new entrepreneur to have a business continuity plan in place or have the funds to be able to start it up in place.
You mentioned that, and I actually been hearing more business courses and business strategists talk about having at least a 2-year slush fund.
Really?
Well, the reason why is because I know, and you're in a business expert yourself, is that because business takes so long to break even, make profit, 1 year to 2 years to do that. So you have to have that slush fund to make sure that you can pay your employees, get your products, you look over your overhead, pay your lease, kind of keep the lights on, kind of all that all that great stuff. But if you can't do that, then of course, and this is why, for example, I think it's like a high percentage. I think it's like 80 plus, percent of restaurants fail, right? It's because they need that
within 2 years. Yeah.
Right. Because they need that constant revenue, and it's, feeling out the market, feeling out that, and then with any business. Now, you make a great point that small business, and here's one area that I've heard a lot of back and forth discussion is like in the health and wellness, personal trainers, hands-on practitioners, massage therapists, physiotherapists, chiropractors, along that line going, but I need to treat. I need to get my hands on these clients, but we have self-quarantine. Now, their governing bodies, their colleges, from what I've been hearing, is now have set out kind of a mandate that they should not be treating, at all, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, the reason why is because it's a hands-on, right? If they touch someone, then they touch
easier transfer. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then you look at restaurants, if they're touching someone's plate and that person touches it, and and they put that plate on a table, or they put in someone's napkin on another table. It's all this transference that's going around, right? So
100%. Yeah.
So
yeah, like I know, like, sorry, just to add to your point, and I 100% agree with you. My own personal trainer, once I went into self-quarantine, and it's not but I just told him I'm not coming into the gym anymore, and I just stopped, like canceled my gym membership and suspended it. And for him, it's like one client he's lost a paying client,
right?
And he, in his scenario, he's probably had multiple clients cancel on him right now, and I'm sure the gym is empty.
Right. Well, they're closed.
So
a lot of the gyms are closed.
They're closed.
Yeah. Like Good Life, LA Fitness,
many of them,
all of them have now gone the mandate that they've closed.
Which is needed.
Yeah.
But for the individual trainer, like I speak with my own personal trainer. His business has gone to a thing. So what he actually started to do was, he's like, I'm like, what's going to happen with you? He's like, I'm actually doing virtual Skype training lessons.
Right.
Okay. Now, I want to bring up one point. One is, I think that's a wicked idea, that you're training people over the phone, like how you and I are talking, but in this case, I'd be working out and you'd say, give me 10 more,
right.
And which is good, and he's like, listen, I'll do it at like half the rate what I was charging and stuff like that. I said, that's fantastic, man. Like, and he's reaching out to them because he needs to keep his business continuity plan going on full.
For sure.
Now, there's an issue with this, and it's a cyber issue. Now he's going to be dealing with people's email addresses, contact information, and an exposure that he didn't have before, which would have been just, a simple text message. He had my phone number at that time. Again, that still is a cyber exposure. But now he's going to be dealing with me, now he's going to be looking at my email addresses on top of just the phone number.
Right.
So if, knock on wood, if there was a video or screen recording session going on or anything of the sort, there'd be an issue.
For sure. And that's the one thing I was going to bring up too, is you're looking at now the recording or even live streaming. If anyone ever tapped into that, and then they have a client, say, and I'm just going to use this like worst case scenario, say it was a female client and someone hacked into that and recorded that compromises her, right? And then, I mean, knock on wood, that never does happen, right? But just these are the vulnerabilities that could happen. And then, like you said, he might have malware on his systems, and now he transfers to client to client to client, right? So it can open up another Pandora's box, because don't get me wrong, a lot of personal trainers, not all of them, but a lot of personal trainers are not really kind of high in the technology side, right? Because that's not their nutrition, their exercise, prescription, like that's their area of expertise, right? Some of them have good knowledge of technology, but not to secure and cybersecurity and data protection and encryption and all that stuff, unless that's something they've been in before. But most personal trainers are I'm about the health. I'm about the well-being. I'm trying to help someone and run my business. So you bring up a great
100%.
point. Like it puts them into a whole different realm and potential risk and liability.
Right. I know my trainer, on top of just having exposure, now I was just giving it a bit more thought. He's also got exposure in the sense where he creates custom workout plans, and he creates in the sense where he's got my starting weight, he's got my height, he's got my identifiable information of what I'm eating, what my exercises are doing, and that's all personal information. It says on is X number of pounds, and he's lost 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, whatever the case
And
is.
probably has your date of birth.
And yeah,
right?
yeah, all that stuff. And even when he, for example, I'm just using this as a great example because this is a great conversation, is when I signed up with him, he made me sign a waiver. So if he scanned that waiver, if I did a digital signature, guess what? He has my signature on his system. Majority of health practitioners will get you to fill out an introductory form to get to know you, any health conditions and stuff. If I've signed off on the information as I have X amount of, I have a back issue, I have a heart condition, I have some sort of illness, or disease, whatever the case is, guess what? He's got a record of it if it's on his computer or system or whatever the case is. And if his simple thing is if he's got it backed up on his laptop, let's say for example, if he's got it on his laptop and the laptop gets compromised, and this was why I was mentioning people are on the road like us with our phones and laptops and computer systems or even credit card processing information online and stuff, which a lot of us are doing. If at any given point, and I'll use this as an example of him as my trainer, if he lost his cell phone or his laptop, my information gets into the hands of the wrong person, they have access to my information and stuff, or somehow they end up hacking into me, which gives them a starting point. Is that correct?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they have a starting point. So we know this much detail about we know these personal information, may even answer some of my security question information that may have already been stored. And this hacker gets into my information. Now all my contacts, which maybe a lot of my clientele, I have Brandon, yourself, I have your information on here. Now one day you get an email from me saying, oh, Aun sent me an email to click on this link because of a COVID-19 information or something like that. It's on my friend. He sent me an email. This is not from a scamming email. Click, you just got phished. And now guess what? You are going to be passing on you may get compromised. Your business may be shut down because you got impacted by ransomware. Right? They locked you down. You can't work, and you can hold me responsible. You can say, I got an email from your email address and we shut down my business. I haven't been able to work for 3 to 4 weeks. I have to pay a cybersecurity guy, if you were not a cybersecurity specialist yourself. I had to pay this guy, or I had to pay a ransom to get my stuff back. And it's all because of the email your company sent to me. And at that stage, I am legally responsible. I can be legally responsible if you took me to court and say it was Aun's company that shut me down. And that's where my cyber insurance comes into play. If you sued me, or if I find out there was a breach on it, majority of cyber insurance policies have two big major aspects to it, or 2 to 3. One is first is that they'll help you. They'll bring in cyber specialists to try to cover up the breach that happened.
For sure.
Which means that they'll come in, work on try to fix the leak, okay, or try to recover it. Second is that if you got sued, and you have some limits to it as well that the insurance company would pay out. The third is that let's say if you were a decent sized company, and now because Brandon, I impacted you, your business got shut down. You went on Google and wrote a very colorful email about what I did to your business. Now I'm in trouble. Like my reputation's on the line. I may be able to lose Brandon as a client, but now if anybody who searches my name on Google is going to see is going to see that negative response. I've not just lost you as a client, I've lost a huge set of business.
So you've lost future revenue.
Future revenue. And then at that stage, cyber insurance, the third part that some of these policies also have is a crisis management team, where they will send a crisis management team into place and help you, guide you to what to say, what not to say, how to say it, to just repair the damage that's been done.
Right. And let's kind of talk about that just quickly. And I want to kind of hit home on that. It's not just the technical damage. It's PR, brand recognition you're talking about too, right? Where a lot of people think, oh, I got a cybersecurity guy. He did a forensics investigation. He remediated all the problems and Bob's your uncle. We're good to go. And like you're saying is no. There's also brand reputation. There's also, educating your clients on how secure you are now. Yes, we're sorry that there was a compromise, but now instilling secure values back into your clientele, and then dealing with any PR issues after that. If you have even a service provider, a vendor, any type of relationship, even a client that goes online and says, you know what? Don't work with Aun because of right? Your information will be lost and he'll scam you up because he keeps getting hacked. Well, these guys do remediation on that side too of your PR. So I think that's a good point that you're bringing in, that it's when you pay for an insurance policy like that, make sure you have that. And that's what you need to confirm with your insurance, specialists like yourself, what does it cover, and have them educate you like you're doing, which is great, is what does it cover? Because a lot of people think of one and done. I've got breached and then I go on my daily life, but they don't realize the impact after could be, you might've got breached and you spend $50,000 on ransomware, but the repercussions on your brand equity and the future revenue could be $150,000, $250,000, because now all of a sudden your stocks start to drop. People start trusting you to purchase online through e-commerce, which a lot of companies do. And now all of a sudden your sales start to drop. Now, what do you do? Right now, you start to panic.
Now, it can lead into additional issues as well. So one of the issues that you can lead into is not just through a cyber insurance perspective, but if you have a decent size operation, you got more than 5 employees, for example, or you got a team of directors in place, or an executive team essentially that's running the business. If they failed to get by cyber insurance after it being recommended, and a company takes a huge hit, they can be not only a cyber claim, but they can be a follow-up directors and officers claim as well. Right. Because the directors and officers failed to act or purchase a coverage that would have been that would have prevented a huge loss. Like let's say a cyber policy was $1,000 $100 a month. Right. Just say a random number.
Yeah.
Okay? But the loss that if you as a shareholder lost, you saw that the company lost, $50,000, $150,000, $200,000 in revenue in business because of the cyber coverage, which could have all been avoided for $100 a month. And the person, the CEO or the executive team or the directors, officers thought it was not worth the expense and they declined it. You as a shareholder will go, because of you not spending the company not spending $100 a month, for example, X amount of dollars, I ended up losing this much value in my business, is my shares. I have you have a grounds to be able to put a directors and officers claim.
Right, and it's totally true. And then the other thing is that the legal responsibility is due diligence and due care. Right, it's a huge.
Oh, I like that.
It's a huge term right now when it comes to liability, because you have to do your due diligence on your cybersecurity policies and everything that you need to do, but you also have to have due care that you're taking responsibility for it, that you're taking the actions necessary. And if you don't do your due diligence and due care, no matter if you're a senior manager or whatever, you could be held legally responsible, right? And this is kind of civil claims, things like that, because you're not doing it. And like you said, the board of managers, board of directors, VP level, all these guys can actually be held liable, saying you didn't do your due diligence of looking at what's the security trends and maturity models that you need to follow, and your guidance of all your other competitors, but let's say just in your vertical, right? If you're in sales or if you're in real estate, if your real estate agents are all doing just this base in security, and you're not doing it, you're not doing your due diligence. And then you're not doing your due care because you're not looking after your business and you're not looking after your clients and your shareholders and all that. So like I said, and I agree with you, it's something that people really need to think about, right? And using this example, $100 a month, is it really worth it? Are you that much in a financial strain to doing that? And if you are, you got to look at how you're going to protect your business as well as grow it, right? And then you can leverage it.
100%.
Something that on my side to add to this is that sometimes you can look at making it a profit center, right? Versus a cost
Right.
center. And a lot of people go, oh, it's $100 a month. But if you leverage that in a way that, guess what? The partners that I work with and other partners I might work with or suppliers, I can build up better relationships saying I have this security portfolio and say, look, you know what?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that. We've done our due diligence. So now we're more secure and we'll protect our information. We encrypt our data. We do all these great things. So come work with us. And that will help to grow
100%.
your business. And now it becomes a profit center and you make money from doing that.
It's an excellent marketing tool. How often, if you ask your viewers this, if you were about to get a contractor in to get quotes in, and you got two simultaneous quotes, the both of them are cost $20,000 to do a reno. One guy shows you that he is insured, and the other guy shows you he's not insured. Which one are you more likely to go with?
Exactly, the one.
99%. The guy who's got the financial backing to show it. If he's charging the same, even if he was slightly more, I would feel comfortable.
Right.
And I'm sure a majority of people would feel more comfortable going, this guy looks like he's a proper business. This guy seems to be, he's not an established business where you can afford to buy insurance. Because I think one of the key things to knowing that you're an established business is not only just the branding, but the fact that you have all your ducks in order, which makes insurance part of it.
And I think the other thing is and I want to be fair to the startup business and business that are growing and maybe they're struggling. It might not be he doesn't care about his business or he's not a professional, but it shows when you have that insurance that person cares about their business and cares about your well-being, right? They care about their clients to show that, right?
100%. Now, the reason I stick with the word don't care is because there are many. So what the insurance companies have done in the marketplace, each company has created a different product for everything. Okay, there are standalone cyber insurance policies which are very detailed. They'll cover you from A to Z if there was a loss. Okay, around the world. Then there are companies that will give you small amounts of coverages, 25,000 coverage, $50,000 coverage. And sometimes it costs $4 to $9 a month. Okay. $4 to $9, and they usually sometimes just add it into their existing commercial liability policy, anyways. So they'll be like your commercial general liability policy, and sometimes you'll see sometimes they'll add it as like a value add. Okay. They'll sometimes add it in for free. They'll maybe add it for $100, $200 a year. Okay. So at that stage, if you're declining it to save $9 or saving it for $5, and you're running an established business, it's you've taken on the responsibility. You've flat out taken on the responsibility on your own. At that stage, like, you have to reevaluate stuff at $5 a month. It's going to become a bit of a challenge because you're taking on so much exposure in this day and age. Like, let me throw this question back to you. You've done this. How much would a breach average recovery from a breach cost?
Well, if you got breached, like right now, if you got potential breach, small business can start anywhere from the actual cost of the breach, not remediation, not forensics, and all that. You're starting around $50,000, right? Starting point is $50,000. Just because you got breached, you might have to pay out. And we didn't even talk about PIPEDA, right? In the sense of any corruption or any theft of data, your client's data, your data, and that has to be now reported. So I think the last quote I got was $75 per record, right? So if it's $75 per record that you have to pay out in fines, well, I mean, that could be $50,000 right there. So,
easy.
Right. So you start with that, and then you look at remediation and all that. It can go up to $150,000 to $200,000 very quickly, very fast, right? So, and you're looking at professional services, updating your firewall, updating, your rules and having people do a penetration test and doing all that, like just to make sure that you're secure, vulnerability assessment, like all that stuff starts to add up. So companies need to look at that if you need to do this for insurance, and this is what I totally agree with you. If you're looking at, your risk and, part of exposure and their cost analysis to it, if it's $5 a month and you're paying $600 a year, roughly, is that more cost effective than paying $50,000 to $100,000? Which here's the truth of the matter that both of us know: that amount of money sometimes will close a business.
Right. Oh, easy.
Right. Like if they had to pay $100,000 out immediately, some business right now that we know couldn't afford it and would have to go bankrupt.
100%.
So
100%. Like, just take any salesperson, any sales professional, and I urge many organizations, especially if you're in the mortgage or real estate, where you're dealing on the road and you're dealing with a lot of financial stuff, is try to get a security expert in. That's part of the risk management steps, is to first get a security expert in, a security expert that knows business is part of that'll help you not only protect and prepare for a loss that happens.
right.
So like yourself, you would go in, and if I say, listen, I run a small call center office, whatever the case is, whatever, I run a small firm office, I would get you to come in, and you would go in and go on, we got to do this checklist.
Right.
You would go, you got to do this, update your firewall, you got to update this, I'll get all these updated settings, you need to remove this, add this, so and so, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of it would be if you just told the client, which would be very negligent, would be, I've taken care of everything, you are impenetrable. I'm walking out the door, right? And you can walk out. At that stage, you have not only put them at risk, you've put yourself at risk as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Part of being a professional is also advising them that, look, I have done what I can with my knowledge and the skill sets I have to protect you from getting hacked. But as you know, even government organizations are not protected,
mm-hmm.
right? Rogers has got hacked. I just got an email 3 days ago from Rogers, or yesterday from Rogers, saying we were compromised, but none of your information was leaked. We got an email from them. The Life Labs got hacked. It was huge. Yeah. And if any of their IT guys went and said, listen, you're not impenetrable, and they get hacked, the company's going to take a hit, and that company's going to turn around and go, Brandon, you told us that it's impenetrable,
right?
And now you lied, and now we're stuck, and we're going to collect our damages from you.
Right.
So a prudent business, a cyber specialist is going to go do the steps and, dot the I's and cross the T's, and tell them, get in a proper insurance policy in place, because if that, chance that you do get penetrated, you have coverage where they can bring in a specialist, again, like me, to do the work at the insurance company's time.
Well, let's kind of correct that. It's not if, it's when, right? This is
it's when, exactly.
So this is kind of the one thing that we talk about in the cybersecurity field, and I'm sure you do in the insurance. A lot of people go, oh, if it ever happens. It's not if, and now it's when. When it happens, do you have these systems in place? And, the transference, right? Having all the technical policies, procedures, like all the technical controls, the policies and procedures, your disaster recovery plan, your instant response, your acceptable user policy, all that stuff, have it in place. Get someone to come through, like you said, go through. And this is what the great thing is with insurance companies. They literally give you a checklist. Is your antivirus up to date? Is it the newest version, when's your patch management policy? They give you a checklist. So having, a security, company come in and say, okay, let's see what your insurance company is talking about. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we got that. It's up to date. We wrote a policy for that. And we're following. Here's a key thing. We're following the policy. Not, hey, we have it written up and then it's in the filing cabinet. No, but you're actually following best practice backup strategy. You talked about like hot site, cold site, warm site. So for example, hot site is you can go from one location to another location and just start going. Warm site is you can go from one location, then you have to boot up that other site, right? And it's kind of going. In the cold sites, you have to kind of start it right from the scratch, right? So you have all these things in your continuity plan, but having all this in place 100%. With your transfers of insurance gives you a well-rounded plan. Right? Because like you said, and I agree with you, is that at the end of the day, when you get hacked, you want to have all this stuff in place in your remediation, your instant response, but you also want to have your insurance company come in to help you out and say, look, we're going to help you, because you did all your due diligence, you did everything you had to do. We're going to come and, your claim's going to be accepted, right? We're going to give you some help here, here, and here to help you get back on your feet faster. It's when you don't do 100%. That. It's when you don't do that. And when that's when now you're kind of your hands up in the air and now all the pressure's on you. You did do your security measures.
My favorite clients.
Go ahead.
So go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, you did. You didn't do your security measures. You didn't follow the advice of your insurance broker or your specialist to tell you what to do. And now you have it on both ends. You've been compromised. You have to pay all this money, and you don't have any help.
Yeah. my favorite clients are the ones who've actually taken the checklist, the form, because the insurance companies don't just give a simple form. It's like between a 7 to 9 page form.
Right.
And they go over all possible, part of it is your property coverage. They go over part of it is your liability, but there's a cyber portion usually goes over 2 to 4 pages.
Right.
And my favorite clients till this day are the ones who take that checklist from me and they get their IT guy to fill it out. And their IT guy goes over the details with them, or if they don't have an IT guy, they bring an IT guy and they'll go over that checklist with them. All right, the insurance company needs this stuff. Can you make sure that all our stuff is complying with their requirements? Do we have the updated firewall? Is the data encrypted? If not, how can we get it encrypted? Do we have the waiver of liabilities in place? We have this, and they have it set up from their end. So what they've done is they've knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone with that application form.
Right.
They've not only completed the application, they've got their cyber specialist to do it. The cyber specialist also it takes them 10 minutes to get this form done, and now the cyber specialist is also doing their part. They've also sort of complied with what the insurance requirements are, and they filled out the form, and the insurance company is happy with it as well. It's like they knock out two things in one shot.
For sure. And totally agree. And I think that's something that any business owner that hasn't done that needs to use that as kind of their checklist. Grab that, their policy, their form, right? Kind of fill it out, grab that. If you have to photocopy it, and then give it to and work with your IT team to do that. And then go back, and I would recommend anytime you make a change or an update, you reevaluate that as well. Because as you know, and any companies that go through upgrades or anything along that line have to reassess that, because you might make a change to the firewall, but did you change the policy around that firewall, that you have actually a written continuity plan about that firewall? Do you have your business impact, analysis? Did you update that with that firewall? So just making sure that you're going like at least every quarter minimum, you're going through that and just checking and making sure everything's up to date.
Yeah. 100%.
So now I know we have a little bit more time because I know you have another meeting to go to. What recommendation do you have for clients right now? What's going on in kind of the world? What's going on in the industry? What are some of the recommendations you have right now?
I'll give a couple tips on this. First is, besides the fact that this is a little off the insurance spectrum. It's completely off the spectrum, but do not panic. Okay, get off the news. Do not panic, but instead start preparing on the business side of things. The first step is that, okay, if you got to start working from home, you need to figure out how to transmit and receive data while maintaining security measures. Okay. If you don't know how to do it, if it's not your forte, there are cyber specialists out there who can assist you, such as reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Who can your skill set is. This is what your specialty is. This is what your forte is. If you tell me to do cybersecurity, I would know 1/20th of what you know, right? Because that's not my forte. I just know the basics what the insurance company needs, and I just know I need to have a good antivirus software with all this other basics in place.
For sure.
But this is your forte, and yes, you need a cybersecurity specialist to go over it. And if you don't know, if you can't hire them to do all the work, many of, like yourself, you provide so much information on your podcast, on your daily podcasts and stuff, and your daily videos. Subscribe to somebody like you and go through it, because I am confident, I've seen your videos, that there are videos out there that will answer probably 90% of the questions that an average business or an individual would be worried about and is not sure about. And if they can't figure it out, then at that point they should get you in for a consultation. So talk to a specialist if needed. Second is to talk to your insurance broker on the note of getting a proper cyber insurance policy in place, because the market is not standard. It is not uniform across companies. It's not like one company is offering the same policy across the board. Each cyber policies can range from, like I said, it can be, $10 a month, all the way to, it can be $100 a year, all the way to, 2, 3, 4,000, depending on how detailed you get, what kind of how the big your operations are.
For sure.
But You can't expect the $100 policy to be covering an organization like Amazon.
Right.
Let's be real, right? So don't think that, oh, I'm going to get a great policy to cover that. No, it fits your policy. It has to be designed to fit your risk exposure and your business.
Right.
If you say I got 300K to dispose to if I ever get breached, I don't need cyber. Okay, that's up to you. That's your responsibility. That's you're taking it on. But frankly speaking, I would, you need to have a good insurance policy in place.
Right. Okay.
And talk to if you already have one, perfect. If you already have an insurance policy in place, cyber insurance as well, have it reviewed by a cyber specialist. Is somebody an insurance broker who's a cyber specialist who can guide you to see. You may have a policy, you may think it's great, but certain questions like, will this policy respond in a crisis management? Will they send a team out? Oh, well, no, they'll give me 25 or 50,000 for notification expenses. But that's all it says. That's all the limit is.
Right.
So what happens with the other expense? What if you get sued? What if you need a crisis management team? Do you have all these coverages? Is this important to you? And third is to make sure, like you would say, is to just always have a contingency fund available.
Okay.
And these are the 3 tips I would give regarding the cyber expenses, because let's be faced, even if you had a cyber policy in place, you have to remember that there's always deductibles and stuff. So you don't want to be caught off guard if there are deductibles that you have to pay. And if you don't need to claim something because something can be paid out by your deductible, it can be paid out by a contingency fund. Let's say you had a $5,000 contingency fund and your cyber loss would only costing you $1,200. Okay, pay it out yourself. Don't put a claim in, but you still have to have a contingency fund so that $1,200 doesn't shock you.
Right. And I think those are all great tips. And I just want to say, like, use what Aun's saying. If you're listening to this, use what Aun's saying and use that as a checklist when you go and get your insurance policy review. And ask them those types of questions. What is my coverage? What does it cover? In a case of an incident, what do I get? When's the last time I reviewed this? Kind of have that checklist, because if your specialist is not delivering, talk to someone like Aun that actually does that. They will evaluate it with you, because you need to work as a team. It's not just this policy you go pay for, one and done, and then that's it. You actually need to have regular follow-ups, regular assessments, because as we know, technology is ever changing. Business is ever changing, ever evolving. They get a new machine in, they get some new technology in. They need to let you know, does that change my policy? Doesn't, do I need to modify it, right? And then, say if they get a new manufacturing machine coming in, right? And it's all digital, it's computer generated. They have, it's run by Python program, whatever that may be. And all of a sudden they go, hey, Aun, does this change? And you go, actually, yeah, it's actually going to change your policy, because that machine's $500,000. Your policy only covers you for $250,000. What do you want to do? And if that's your main staple of your business, now you need to kind of and I'm using that as a rough example for anyone out there that's listening. Right. But these are the things that you have to constantly keep doing. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to take a step back with the COVID-19 stuff and everything that's going on. We're talking about a lot of business practices, business strategies, and kind of going forward. Right. And I know right now the worry and the stress is, I don't even have a business running right now. Like I'm losing money. How do I think about all this stuff? So I'd recommend right now, like I'm saying, take a break, work on some personal projects or even projects for your business that you haven't had time to work on. Have these conversations now while you have a little bit of time off with your insurance broker. Look at things you do. Talk to your IT department and your insurance specialist. Kind of do all that now while you have a little bit of time, and understand that this is not forever. This pandemic, as long as everyone follows kind of the best practices and the guides, this is something that's going to go up and it's going to go down a little bit. We're going to have a little bit of a crash, but then we're going to build up again as we build up as a community. And I think working with the right people around you is going to help you kind of recover faster, right? Versus, looking at in the sense of the house is burning, the sky is falling. Oh my God, it's the end of days. It's like, I get it. There's a lot of concern going on, a lot of fear, and working with the right people will help you to kind of settle that fear. And as you and I know, once you start working on projects, a day becomes a week, becomes 2 weeks, and you look up and now you're like, oh my God, like I'm back to work, next week. It's like, oh my God, like I need another week off. I had someone,
time runs.
I had someone joke with me today, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm working on these projects. It goes, maybe I need an extra week off just to get these projects done. Like, this is giving me so much freedom, so much time to be able to do this. And it's like, perfect. Think of that way and get these things done versus worrying that, oh my God, like, we're going to get sick. And I want to add in, like, with cybersecurity and risk analysis side, yes, a lot of people are concerned about, the virus being passed around and exposure and things like that. And do your due diligence, right? If you know someone that's sick or someone that's, vulnerable, make sure that you're not around them and you're calling them by phone or through Skype or through FaceTime and connecting with them and sharing that connection. And if they're more vulnerable, protect them, right? Do that. And
right.
All of our communities need to do this because the faster we'll get out of this. Right. The faster,
100%.
And we're looking at kind of remediation, right? In the sense is that we understand what the impact is. We understand what technically in cybersecurity, we know what the virus is. We've labeled it.
Right.
We know the attack vector. It's going on everyone. So if we just, isolate it like we're doing right now, it's going to start to pass. It's going to start to kind of go through, and then we're all going to recover. So the stress that's out there about not having enough money, not doing that, I get it. Just take a deep breath, ask for help where you can. And, work with people like on that to see what you can do with your policies and all that, to help, kind of support you through this time. And then all of a sudden now, when this is over, hit the ground running.
Exactly. 100%. It's, those are great tips, man. And I think these tips should be shared across the board. I think there's a lot of, unfortunately, media is doing a lot of fear mongering and getting people with sensational headlines. We need to stay calm, collected, and follow the guidelines, which is to stay isolated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it gives us, at least I found, speaking to my friends, was that we've always complained about not having enough time.
Right.
That life has been so busy, and this is completely not insurance related.
Right.
But we wish we had more time to spend with our family. We wish we had more time to spend at home. There's a book that's been sitting that's like about 50 pages away from finishing it, but I've been so busy with work, it's just sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to finish that book. I have time now.
Right.
Like, I know life has slowed down, and like I'm looking at it scares me because, it's, as we all have to make a living.
Right.
But this may be sort of like a voluntold way by the earth to tell us to kind of sit down and relax and
take a break,
take a breather, take a break. You'll make your money back. Relax. But panicking if you're going to take a hit, let's say financially, I'm just talking about financial perspective right now. If you're going to take financially, panicking is not going to change that.
Right.
Okay. It's not. So let's make it as productive as possible to help offset that later on. And for business owners, this will be a quick tip that I found out, or I'm starting to do on my own, is creating content. I have time. There's a lot of articles coming out. I'm trying to create as much content, and it's the perfect time for me to create content so that when this phase starts to pass, we have enough stuff to be able to use for marketing. We can get our marketing ducks in order for content creation and stuff like that. So it's not all gloom and doom. There's a silver lining in there as well.
Well, I think you made a good point too, is this now too is giving you a point to think outside the box. Personal trainers doing live Skype calls, like, having some sort of support line, providing a service through, conference calls or Zoom or Skype. There's all these different things you can think outside the box that'll help, keep your business going, right? And you might be able to provide some training, some paid training, right? If there's companies out there that have technology solutions, whatever that may be, now you just do a paid seminar, right? Keep the revenue coming in, and your clients will have a little bit of time, and if as long as they're not financially strapped, they'll invest into it, and we're all helping each other.
Yeah.
Right. It's just keeping
100%.
the wheel going and not stressing. And I want to hit this home is when you stress, you act out of fear, and the logic goes out the door, right? You don't think, don't think about logic and how you're doing it. You act as a panic, and you don't make really good decisions and ask yourself good quality questions. And then what happens? You make mistakes, right? So let the fear go down. If you have to talk to someone that a family member, a counselor, a psychiatrist, a talk therapist, like, get it out. I understand. Talk to someone, but then go back into the logic thinking, okay, what can I do? What can I do right now to provide? And I'm going to say this right across the board. Every one of us has some sort of skill that can help someone else, right? Even if it's getting on the phone and saying, look, I'm going to add consulting services in cybersecurity for like $25 an hour, right? Just for small companies. Right. Or if you're talking to people and you just trade for trade, even some of the people are doing that, right? If you,
right,
I'll use this example as a horrific one, but say toilet paper. Say I need toilet paper.
Right.
I'll do an exchange for toilet paper, right? Like something something along that line that you're getting things back, you're helping each other, because this is, in my opinion right now, like you look at Italy, look at China, you know, they had the peak and then it really kind of starts to slow down. Now it's starting to slow down across them. We're going to have the same thing. We have to write it out, but we're going to have to write it out as a community.
Yeah, 100%. We have to work together.
Well, I want to first say thank you so much, right, for providing all this great information to help, you know, educate my community. If you want to share this out to your community and just really provide value of what's going on in the industry, what's going on in cybersecurity, what's going on in the insurance industry, and give people resource to follow. And now I know your website is the insurers.ca. Is that correct? So if your guys are watching this, I'm going to post that in the description. If you have any questions about insurance, business, continuity plans, cybersecurity, contact on just and ask him any questions. I know, you know, me personally, he's been an amazing resource of anything I need to know, anything I need to know about insurance or about business or just kind of know what's going on in the industry. Even following him on social media, he's always posting great videos about what's going on in the industry and what he's saying. So I highly recommend you take the time and just, you know, connect with them and just learn from him and see what you can do.
Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate it. And I'm truly honored to be a guest on your show.
Awesome. Was there anything else you wanted to end with, or?
No, I think this was a great conversation. And I know we went kind of off topic quite a few times. I know we were supposed to be talking mainly about cyber insurance, but there's so much happening. And I really enjoyed this conversation, just going back and forth. And I think anybody who's listening to this on the road or driving or anything of this sort, you'll see that it's this conversation is like two friends catching up about what's happening in business and tips. And I think there's a lot of gold nuggets that were dropped in this conversation.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Aun. And I want to remind you guys, just don't forget, software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next video.
Take care, guys.